Hello everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV and the Daily News. We're here, we're live, we're across YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, so welcome aboard all of you who are watching on any one of those platforms. If you want to interact with me in the comments though, use the YouTube comments and I'll come to some of them a little bit later on. I just want to say, for all of you who obviously understand how YouTube comments work, first, in your faces, I was first in the comments. Thing. So let's get stuck into loads of different news stories I got for you today. There is the one that's mentioned in the title and possibly the thumbnail if you're watching this after the fact, is Rafa Soares. I'll come to that a bit later on because let's tease it out. But starting off a few little things to just get through. Napoli have been announced as the fourth and final team for the Audi Cup tournament. But more importantly than that, Liverpool are going to play Bayern Munich in their semi-final game or whatever it is, because there's obviously 4 teams going to be taking part in it. You play a semi-final against Bayern and then you play the winner or obviously loser if you lose your first game of the other games on the next day or whatever. We should be there, so if you go and do let us know, and hopefully you come and catch up with us. But that's cool. Bayern Munich, really interested to see that. I went to the Barcelona game at Wembley last summer. It was great. You know, obviously they've put tonked Barcelona in front of 90,000 people, which was tremendous, and ultimately didn't really tell us everything about how Liverpool's season was going to go. Of course not, but no, interesting challenges. What's interesting as well is more pre-season dates have been announced, so we now know we're playing Tranmere on the 12th of July, which is a Wednesday, and then on the Friday, which is the 14th, 12 plus 2, playing Wigan, so that's cool again. Obviously we played both of those teams last year. Good, entertaining afternoons or early evenings out, which is boss. Some things more pertinent to the actual squad then. Emre Can, the report in Italy that he's set to sign a new contract with Liverpool, which I think would be fantastic news just to get that done and sewn up. It's quite funny what a difference 6 months can make. I think if you rewind to January, February, March even, I think a lot of us were going, oh, Emre, you know, why is he not signing the contract? What, you know, is he worth the money that he's supposedly asking for? Yada, yada, yada. And then he came in and he scored the goal of the season and put in some fantastic shifts. And I think we could all admit that you don't want to be in a position as a football club where you're selling players of that ability. You know, if you're ready to replace them, you're ready to replace them. But let's stop selling guys who have yet to properly hit the peak of their powers. Let's continue to develop them. And hopefully Emre Can can go on to become a really top quality footballer for Liverpool on a more consistent basis next season. Still not 100% confirmed, of course, but you know, if it is true, then that's, for me, that's great anyway. But of course, your thoughts below. Another player who's going to have his future decided this summer then, Joe Gomez. Now, I think the vast majority of us anyway, I don't want to speak for everyone, I've got high hopes for Joe Gomez. He looks like a real talent when he plays. You know, so composed, so cool, great touch. Just looks like a really good footballer and you know, a centre-half to boot. So I know I definitely really want to see him get an opportunity this season. Klopp looks likely to run the rule over him in pre-season, and then he'll make a decision over what happens with him. Now, you know, we've done the Squad Analyzer show, which you can check out on the redmentv.com right now. Really good show. Me and my dad looking at Liverpool's squad depth and where we're likely to bolster in terms of signings. Joe Gomez is a big question mark because at the minute, you look at Liverpool are not short of centre-halves, and if Joe Gomez is fit, I think he puts himself more into the equation than he was last year. But at the minute, in the squad, if you count him going back into it now, you're still looking at Lovren, Matip, Klavan, Gomez, and you could still argue the Lucas case if you really want to. You know, 5 centre-halves is a lot. There's obviously, if we're then looking to add a first choice one in a Van Dijk or whomever, at 6, let's take Lucas out, let's call it 5. Still loads too many. I would rather see Joe Gomez to be given chances to develop by playing in the first team than Ragnar Klavan or Lucas Leiva playing in that position. But that's just me. Please do let me know. But what it apparently alone's not out of the question, which is very interesting. I hope anyway that he gets a lot of first team football. I want to see him. I want to see him prove himself because again, I really like what I've seen of him. I think he's got massive talent. The Huddersfield and the Premier League thing, I think, opens doors for us, though. Their team was built on loans, basically, and just hopes and dreams. They're in the Premier League. They're going to need a lot of players. Now, look at Danny Ward, could be one to go back there, which I think is very, very sensible. But having someone who plays has a similar ethos, obviously very close with the manager already in Wagner, I think you could do worse than see Joe Gomez get a loan to Huddersfield if he has to. But ideally, again, I'd much rather see him playing first-team football for Liverpool. Okay, another bit of transfer news potentially out as well. Lucas Leiva being linked with Newcastle. If there was ever a more obvious link than Rafa Benitez going in for Lucas. Now, I interviewed Rafa, God, 5 years ago now, maybe even more. Probably 5 or 6. It was one of the very first exclusives on the website. So the video's still there if you want to search it out. Again, on the redmentv.com for the people who obviously are the supporters of the channel. And, he's got a lot of time for Lucas. He really likes him. And he was so chuffed to see him finally winning over his critics and what have you. Newcastle are going to be desperately in need of having some, just some good players with a Premier League experience and stuff in the squad to really help them kick on. And I'd much rather see Lucas go to Newcastle and play in the Premier League than go and play in Turkey or whatever. I hope he does. His family clearly love it here. I really like Lucas. I personally, given the choice, I'd keep him around for another season if we could, just to have him around. But if he's going to move, I think he could do worse than Newcastle, to be perfectly honest. Okay, then Rafa Soares, Porto left back, 22 years old, has had this to say about a Liverpool move. I followed Liverpool from a young age and I shiver every time I listen to You'll Never Walk Alone. It's unique. He again goes on to say, I'm naturally flattered, but I'm a Porto player. I'm focused on succeeding here, which, I mean, we'll obviously see whether that's not definitive by any stretch. And I've got no great knowledge of this lad. I did have a cursory look. He played 38 games in all competitions for Porto, got 3 goals and 5 assists, which is a pretty sound return from left back. Fine, that's the kind of age I think where I'd still like us to sign a proper senior left back, but sign a 22-year-old who's got top league experience. I think is a better option than going out and buying like a 17, 18-year-old and a senior guy to some respect, because maybe you kind of get the best of both worlds with someone who fits that kind of bill. But I've seen nothing of him. If you watch the Portuguese League, if you watched any of Porto, that's all you've seen, and please do give me your thoughts in the comments below. No, I didn't see anything on fee. It's just very much like Liverpool, apparently, whether Liverpool have watched him and he's been made aware that Liverpool are watching him and he's come out and talked about it. But it encourages me in so much as it shows that we are still in the hunt for a left back, because I would be majorly concerned if we were to go into the season with just James Milner as that option. Once again, so I'm going to come to your comments in a moment. Michael says, how good is this Rafa Soares fella? Never heard of him before. I'd never heard of him whatsoever. It's funny, isn't it funny how there are certain names that have little periods of success in football? There's a couple of Soares out there at the moment, aren't there? And it's weird that you tend to get a little glut of a certain name and what have you. Non-event horizons. What about Gomez to Newcastle on loan? Yeah. I mean, if you're going to learn how to be a defender, there aren't many better coaches you can learn how to be a defender under than Rafa Benitez. The man knows how to defend. He's very much in that mindset, same as Jose Mourinho. Guy loves to set up a defence, set it up very well, and use that as the basis for success. So let's have a quick look down through there then. Gary0197, we all never heard of Firmino, but look how good that turned out. I think Firmino was a bit better known, to be fair, wasn't he? But yeah, no, you are absolutely right. Chris Jamieson, I would like to see Naby Keita at LFC. I think he can be the new Kante. Yeah, I think he's more box to box, isn't he? But yeah, I would. I don't think that it's likely that it's going to take something big to make it happen. Interesting enough, we have Melissa Reddy from goal.com on the sofa, not in that way, because that's not what we do here. But yeah, on the Reds transfer roundup on Steve's show this week, which is out right now on the website, discussing the potentials of the Naby Keita stuff, more on the Van Dijk stuff, more on Salah, etc. So if you want a real fix of transfer stuff, do go over and watch that show by all means. Let's see. Jonathan Hartley says Virgil van Dijk done and dusted yet? In no way, shape or form. Apollo Gray, Gomez could be a rotation option. I agree. I think it will depend on what player he is right now. I don't think this would be the end of Joe Gomez one way or the other, unless he goes and gets a Premier League loan and he's terrible, in which case, maybe that's one of them when you move on. He's had a few serious injuries. This was a couple of serious injuries, so we just don't know what it is. But hopefully, fingers crossed that he can do that, because like I say, I've said it already, but I'll say it again. It'd be lovely to see him get more time. Right. Let's see. Philip Eklund, what happened to the Casillas deal? Interestingly enough, I'm mentioning that there's a new show going out today on the website called Target Rater. There's a big board, and I rate from never gonna happen to almost nailed on, where all the links that Liverpool have to players, where they rate, essentially. So if you want to watch that show, again, go over to the website. But the Casillas one, I'm not sure it ever was a thing, if I'm perfectly honest. So let's have a couple more. Non-event horizon. Are the Redmen going to follow the pre-season tour this year? To the best of our ability. If people want to, if you want us to go to Hong Kong, then you have to sign up to the redmentv.com. If we get a few hundred subscribers, then we'll go and do Hong Kong, but we're going to try our best to get out to Germany, if nothing else. Let's see. Oh yeah, 2-punch Raven says Salah, and he says it twice. And Chris Jameson is also Salah needs to join LFC. It looks as though apparently his agent's in London. Now, it doesn't mean anything. London's a nice place to go. Not so much of late, but, a little bit more of a worrying time. Not somewhere you go there, perhaps as freely as you would done, but it's look, these things happen all the time. I suspect that Salah's agent probably isn't solely Salah's agent. He probably represents a few guys, but the potential exists there. You can put two and two together, and it's not outside the realms of possibility that he's an agent. The club he's open to talk to is in England. You would come to London. Liverpool have got offices in London as well. So deals could happen in that regard. So we'll obviously have to see. Hopefully something happens on the Salah deal in the next few days, or maybe by next week or whatever. Because I think we're all just bored of inactivity. The only other thing, actually, before I go, is the talk that Chelsea want £10 million for Solanke, which is not going to happen. There's no way that Liverpool are going to end up being charged that much money for someone who's an under-19 international who doesn't play Premier League football. Fingers crossed, anyway. But yeah, thanks very much for your comments. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much, everyone who subscribed to the YouTube channel, where all this stuff is free. If you want to help support the YouTube channel, help support everything that we do, keep the lights on, keep the business coming, and obviously help us to make brilliant content, like the upcoming tour, like just all the exciting stuff that we do. Again, go to redmentv.com. It's free for a month if you want to see what all the extra content's all about. But past that, if you just want to support the show, you can do. It's £2 a month on the site, theredmentv.com/join. You can click there if you're watching this after the fact to do that, and you can subscribe there. And if you want to watch my channel on YouTube, you can do Mates TV. Click my face, subscribe, and I shall see you for more content soon. Yeah, ta-da.